is out of the south. That's the Iowa rut. He's still going, and he's going strong. But everyone who thinks that this deer hunting, especially killing big bucks, is easy, has no idea. That's the drop 12, dude. That is the drop 12. All right, are you on him?
Right.
I didn't see where he went after he went over the fence. I didn't know where he went. Well, I'd love to tell you that this is a long story, that we've known this deer for 10 years and all this, but that just isn't the case with this particular deer. Now, we did know him for a good bit. We knew him for 2 years, but it was really, I mean, to get to the drop 12, you got to kind of go through a few things. I guess, first of all, last year, so 2023, I mean, I've got trail camera after trail camera, pictures and videos of this buck. And he has come into our scents, raised scents. We build mock scrapes, and he showed up right away and started hitting those mock scrapes. He started coming to some of our rub trees that we put in where we put buck junkie on them. And he's wearing these trees out. But I can tell this deer is fairly young. I actually figured he was 3 or 4 years old. And so we just elected that we were gonna pass him, and then he snapped off a brow tine. So that even kind of solidified the fact that 2023, the drop 12 was not the drop 12 at that time. I just called him a 10. Didn't have a name for him, but he moves on through. So fast forward to the summer of 2024, and we know that our neighbor had picked up his shed, so we knew the deer made it. But the summer, we get to start driving around, looking, and we're seeing several good bucks this year in different fields and things like that. But sure enough, there's one particular deer that is not just a good deer. I mean, he's a really good deer. The problem is that he has made his home 150, 200 yards from the public road. Everyone is seeing him. I mean, everybody. There's people sending pictures to us. Hey, this deer's right down the street from your house. Did you know this? And I'm like, yeah, we know about him. Which was cool, but at the same time, it was kind of like, oh geez, hope nobody just goes out there and shoots him off the road. So we get into the season, and I mean, we didn't really have I was not like dead set on trying to kill this particular deer. I actually have an older deer that I was looking for called Mr. Liss, and he's got a whole lot of history behind this deer that Warren's now wife had passed, she shot him twice or shot at him twice, but never killed him. And so anyhow, the drop 12 got his name because during the summer months is when we recognized that he grew about a 2-inch drop tine, and he had 12 symmetrical points. He's got an extra kicker on his brow tine, but other than that, I mean, that's how he got his name. Well, just like last year, he starts doing the same thing. We start putting in rub trees, we start building mock scrapes, we're putting buck junkie on our rubs, we're putting scrape attic or scrape king on our scrapes, and he is coming. And he is hitting these scrapes, and he's hitting and so anyhow, Easton is the only one in the family that has not killed a booner. And so we were like, let's let Easton have a crack at him. So Easton is trying to see if he can find this deer and target this deer. At the same time, he's got another deer he's after as well. So, I mean, it was just kind of, and the drop 12, I can't tell you that he lives, like we didn't have this deer pattern to he's on this property. We know we are going to be the ones that either we're going to get a crack at him or nobody is. That just wasn't the case. He kind of would come in and then he'd leave for a while. We wouldn't know where he was at for 2-3 weeks. And so anyhow, the season starts going along, and I'm having a blast. I mean, we shot a lot of does this year. We fantastic. I mean, it was just fun until we got to about mid-October or late October, and then the fun was still fun, but the weather wasn't changing, and that was not helping us with our hunting. I mean, we were not seeing. Now I'm like past shooting does. I'm thinking about starting to kill some bucks. We're starting to really rely on our scrapes and on our rubs. And we're getting deer coming to all of them and hitting our scents like no other. The problem is they're doing it at night, which is still typical in October, but usually the last week of October, that all changes and we start seeing daylight movement, and we never did. And I mean, if you want to talk about getting frustrated, when you start hunting as many days as we put in a tree and we're hunting and we can't see a 5-year-old deer to save our life, frustration would be an understatement. But finally, we get to early November, I guess, and Nick and I climb in a tree one afternoon, and I was doing my normal complaining, but we finally see, I think the deer was 4 years old. He's a nice 10 that I recognize him from last year. Okay, we're back at it trying to see a deer. Done. I've tried the long interview and explaining everything to all you people, and I don't have a freaking clue. So tonight we're going to sit here and hope a deer walks by. This morning I saw a button buck. That's it. I will say the only reason I knew it was a button buck because he was like 200 yards away is because I'm now wearing these 12 by 50s and I could see every nose hair on him. And that's it. That was the only deer encounter we had. So tonight we're sitting about 100 yards from where we sat this morning and didn't see any. We're a glutton for punishment. We just came back. That was real smart. I don't know. We'll just see.
Boy, David's out in full force today.
Yeah, I got no remorse for these deer. If one walks by, if that button buck comes by, he better watch it.
Oh, God.
Because I'm pissed. No, it's all good. It's part of hunting. It makes the days when you do see deer that much better.
Looks like a decent deer. He's coming up. Or he's walking on that.
And so that kind of broke the ice. It's like, all right, here we go. We're going to start seeing some better deer. So that kind of, we finally are also starting to get some weather coming in, but it's coming in the form of rain, and then there's supposed to be some cool weather come with it. And so at that point, the wind all changes. I was like, we're going to our food plot. We got a food plot that has, and we had not been able to hunt it because we'd had the wrong wind for weeks. And so finally we can climb in there. So Nick and I go over and we climb in that blind. We're in a grizzly blind sitting there. We had one of those nights. We had 2 of those nights actually. 2 nights in a row where it was just what a deer hunter and what a bow hunter lives for. So I'm not gonna be a broken record today. I'm not even gonna talk about the weather. We're just gonna hunt. So we are November 4th. Rut has started, no doubt. Bucks are following nose. We have 1 confirmed, not that I saw. I haven't seen a racked buck in 4 days, which means I'm a crappy hunter because I haven't picked the right spot. But I'm actually hunting a particular buck. 2 or 3 of them that frequent here, but one that's been frequenting here. And we call him Mr. Liss, and you've heard me say it numerous times. I just don't believe this deer is smart. I just think he's been that lucky. So we're back here again, trying to close a deal on this deer. Been hunting with a southeast wind from the other side of the food plot. Never saw him. The last time I sat this blind with Alyssa, with a northwest wind, we saw him over here. But he didn't come in the food plot, it was right before dark. Tonight we got a north wind, so if he's over there again, he'll have no idea we're here. If he's back here at all, he'll have no idea we're here. If he comes out in the south end of the food plot, we've got a deal in the grizzly blind tonight. I don't know what it's even called.
The grizzly power vent.
The grizzly power vent. And we've got buck junkie rolling out of it and an earth scent. So hopefully that's gonna help cover our scent downwind. It's a pretty good buck. I don't know that deer, Nick. Just a really nice 10 or a 9. That's the buck that was making the scrape up on the hill earlier. You'll see him scrape rubbing that tree. He's coming out. Is he coming out? Yeah. Yards, man. I can drill it from right here. Oh yeah, that's him, because that doe's still here. Okay, here we go again. The broken record is over. Temperature is like 50, 49, something like that, and it's supposed to cool off this evening. Actually going down to the high 30s tonight, I think, for tomorrow morning. But as Nick and I walked in tonight, this afternoon, whatever you want to call it, there was a buck with a doe. We could see across the CRP. That's actually over my right shoulder right now. And at first I thought it was Mr. Les. It was a straight 8 and it was pretty wide, but then as I looked at him longer, I could tell it was not him. He's missing his right eye, and this deer had both eyes. So that was definite confirmation it wasn't him. However, he's not a shooter. 3-year-old. Boy, he looks dynamite. That's why we call him Dynamite. He's a cool deer. He's got 17 scoreable points. I mean, he's just got points everywhere. But everyone who thinks that this deer hunting, especially killing big bucks, is easy, has no idea. You gotta try to get the right buck in front of you. That's the hard thing. Then when you get the right buck where you can see him, then you gotta get the right buck within shooting range. And when your shooting range is 30 yards or less, that can be pretty tough. Then when you get him within 30 yards, you gotta get him to stand at the right angle to get a shot. You have to also have it where you can get drawn on them without them seeing you. And then you have to hold your wits about you in order to deliver a good shot. I got a lot of respect for this deer. He's made it 8 or 9 years, not only by getting by us, but this is only an 80-acre tract, so this deer roams multiple farms, and no one's ever killed him. It's a good deal. That's why we come back time after time. Is that the same buck? Yeah, that's the buck we just saw coming out by the well to follow her. Yeah, we will shoot that deer. He's screwed up. Something's wrong with him. I think he is like ancient old. Okay, here comes another buck coming out of timber. I see it. That's super wide, big tall high guard. Oh, come on, sweetheart, come down this way. Is that the 10 on her butt? What the heck is that thing? Coming at the 10. I mean, just watching buck after buck chasing does, bucks chasing each other off, bucks running each other off, bristled up, about to fight. Okay, we missed that opportunity in there that we normally have in late October where they go from coming to the scrapes and the rubs late at night and then it turns into daylight. It's almost like it was backed up a week this year. And here now that's what was happening the 2 evenings that Nick and I sat in that blind. But it was still, I mean, when I went home that night, I was like, we won. So we end up now pushing it into like mid-November, I guess. We're getting real close. And sure enough, we have an encounter with another good deer. And I mean, it was like, I thought everything was going to happen and it just didn't happen. But no big deal, because what it did do is it led me to go over and check that camera where I had freshened that scrape. And here's the drop 12. He's there twice. And one time's in the middle of the night. The other time, though, is daylight hours. He's come there and working this scrape. Well, I got a stand that's about 75 yards from there. So I tell Nick, I was like, hey, man, tomorrow's a south wind. It's perfect for this stand. We're climbing in that stand, and we're going to throw all of our eggs in one basket because, honestly, we got 3 bucks that could show up there. So anyhow, so we climb in that stand that morning. And it's one of those days. It's windy, it's warm, everything says that we shouldn't be seeing much, but the rut is going and we're in Iowa and we end up seeing like 10 different bucks. And I'm like, this is like, we just need the right one to show up, and he doesn't. So finally we make it to like 11 or 12 o'clock, something like that. We haven't seen a deer now for almost 2 hours. And I tell Nick, I'm like, let's climb down and then we're gonna run to the house, grab something to eat. But we're coming right back here. I said, and he's like, well, why do you want to come back here? I said, well, all the bucks that we've seen, if you'll notice, every one of them that's gone to our left here up into, there's like a big thicket there. They've all come out of it. They've all avoided it. They go up, they turn around, they leave, they go out across the field going across the neighbors, or they cut across my CRP. But nobody wants to go in there for some reason. And I'm like, I don't know if it's a big buck. I mean, I feel like it's a mature buck. It's someone who's dominating this area that's in there. Don't know which one it is, but we're gonna get back in this tree and try this again.
We're looking for 3 particular bucks, but there's probably another shooter or 2 that could show up in here. I'm looking for Les. It's an old deer, big, wide. Won't score very good, but he's probably be the, I don't know why you would say it. If you were playing a chess game, it would be the one you want to win the most. Another deer that just showed up over here is the drop 12. Typically he's been at my house, but for whatever reason, the last couple of days he came over here. And then a new deer we call double B because he has big bases, huge bases. So anyhow, those are who we're looking for. There's also one supposed to be running around with a crossbow bolt in it. I don't know if it's dead or if it's still alive, but it's supposed to be like a giant 8. I don't know. Never seen the deer. Neighbor called us, said they shot it, lost it. We shall see. But we got the same wind we had this morning, straight south, just perfect. This is a strip of timber that runs between some pastures here.
I do an interview, we talk about it, and then I sit down for a few minutes and the wind's perfect. I'm like, man, this is like, we just need one to show up. And all of a sudden I look up and I don't know how he got there because I didn't see him coming, but he's less than 100 yards. The drop, I mean, as soon as I see him, I lift my binoculars for just a second just to confirm, but I was pretty sure it was him the moment I saw him. And sure enough, I see the drop 12 is walking by us.
That's the drop 12, dude. That is the drop 12. Oh, freaking way. Come on. I need my grungle. He's gonna go by us. I need my grungle. Keeps moving to the right. Never mind.
And he comes walking in, and I just remember asking Nick, are you on him? Because he's at 18 yards when he comes down this little hill.
Meh. Dude, we got him. Dude, no.
And I just remember sitting there thinking, the moment that it went in, I felt good. I was like, okay, I centered his lungs. I had to have, because the arrow buried way in. The lighted knock was sticking out just a little ways, and he turned and he ran. And I think I forgot to follow him or forgot to watch him, or I was just like, all my emotions from all of this season culminating to that point right there when it all works, that I'm just like, holy cow.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. I didn't see where he went after he went over the fence. I didn't know where he went. Dude, I'm shaking so bad. Oh, please, Lord, let me find this deer.
We sat there and the two of us took it in for 20, 30 minutes in the tree, just making sure. Nick felt like he knew the deer went down, but he couldn't see for sure. So we climbed down, and sure enough, we find blood right away, and then I find the arrow. But I started to panic a little bit because I couldn't find a lot of blood. And so I had Nick go back up in the tree and then tell me where he last saw the deer. And then I made a loop out there, and when I made the loop, I saw the antler. If you look right there, I can see an antler. Can you see that tine sticking up?
Oh my gosh, dude.
Well, I don't think that's just laying there for no reason. I think that's him. So let's go look.
Oh.
That's a deer, folks. That is a deer.
Dude.
Gosh, dude. He gets his name because he has this little tiny drop, and he's a straight 12. Actually, he's a 13 when you count that kicker, and the drop is actually an inch, so he'll be a 14. And when I saw the antler, I knew then we didn't have a deer on the ground. We had the drop 12 on the ground. I mean, this is a deer that was worth, like, you spend your entire life. I can tell you, growing up in Virginia, inside the Beltway, I never dreamed I'd be sitting here telling other people about not only a booner, but a giant 183-inch kind of deer that I just put an arrow in. So that's the story of the drop 12. I hope it's not the last story that we'll tell you, and I dang sure hope that it's not the last time that I get to tell that story, because I hope people will stop and ask me about him later on, and if you don't, I might just bring it up, because this is what deer hunting's all about.